How can you divide larger numbers? Think about this question during the lesson. So far, 467 tortillas have been made. These tortillas will be placed in packages of 15. How many complete packages will be filled? Divide to find the number of packages of tortillas. Do you need to find an estimate or an exact answer for this problem? You will need to find an exact answer because each and every tortilla must be in a package. Estimate to help decide where to place the first digit in the quotient. There are about 30 packages of tortillas. Divide the tens. Multiply. Subtract. Bring down the ones and continue the process. Multiply. Subtract. So far, how many packages of tortillas will be filled? So far, 31 packages of tortillas will be filled. How many tortillas are made for the next packages? 2 tortillas have been made for the next package of tortillas. Check your work. Now you know how to divide larger numbers with 2-digit quotients.
Hello. This afternoon we're going to talk about Unit 4, Lesson 8, which is 2-digit quotients. So yesterday we talked about a 1-digit quotient. And remember, a quotient is the answer to a division problem. So the answer goes up here on the roof of the doghouse. Today we're going to work with what happens when our quotients, our answer, are 2 digits, so 10 or higher. So the steps are pretty much exactly the same, only we have to look at things slightly different. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the problem on the screen. We're going to still use the same steps that we looked at yesterday, but when we get to trying to find a compatible answer or a starting off point, we're going to have to do a little bit of division, some little division. And when we use bigger numbers and get 2-digit quotients, sometimes we may have to adjust our answer a couple times. We may be a little bit further away, and we may need to make our quotient smaller or larger more than once. So let's go ahead and try the problem 584 divided by 36. Now same thing, 36 knocks on the door, 58 answers. So this one's pretty easy. What I can do is I already know that 36 is smaller than 58, so I absolutely can take 36 away at least one time. And if I do some mental math, I can round 36 to 40. And I know that I can take 40 away from 58 just once, because if I tried to do it twice, I would need 80. So I can take 36 away one time. Remember the steps for dividing. Say that next I multiply. So remember, divide, multiply, subtract, compare, bring down. Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? So 1 times 36 gives me 36. If I subtract it, 8 minus 6 is 2. 5 minus 3 equals 2. I'm going to compare. 22 is less than 36, so 1 isn't too small. So now I can bring down my 4. Now I have 224 divided by 36. So now I'm going to use the same steps that I looked at yesterday when I looked at a 1-digit quotient. So same thing. I'm going to round 36 to the nearest tens. We're going to look at these steps right here. That gives me 40. I'm going to use the 4 in 40 and the 22 in 224, the first 2 digits in 224, which gives me 22. I want to figure out how many times I can take 22 away from, or how many times I can take 4 away from 22 before I run out of numbers or I go over. So if I need to, I can skip count by 4s, 4, 8, 12, 16, and I just keep going until I go over 22. Then what I want to do is cross that out and look at the number that comes right before it. I know by counting by 4s I can take 4 away 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that will give me 20. So let's go ahead and use 5 as a starting off point. So I want to follow the same steps. Even though I've already used a 1, even though I've already started dividing, it's still the same steps. We're just kind of working at this in the middle of the problem. So same steps. I'm going to do 5 times 36. We're going to write it over here. 5 times 6 is 30. Put down the 0, carry the 3. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 3 is 18. And I have 180. 180 absolutely works. That gives me a number that's smaller than 224, so I at least know that 15, the 5 isn't too big. So now I'm going to subtract 180. If I subtract 180, let's see, make this a 12. 12 minus 8 equals 4. I end up with 44. Now if I compare, I notice that 44 is bigger than 36. So I didn't take 36 away enough times, which means I need to follow the same steps. My product works, but my difference is too large. So the directions say add 1 to the quotient. So instead of making this a 5, I'm going to make it a 6. And subtract your divisor, 36, one more time. So same steps we followed yesterday. I'm just going to subtract and see what I end up with. Whoops. Should be a 3. And I end up with 8. 8 is smaller than 36, so 16 works. There's no other numbers to bring down, so this becomes my remainder. 16 with a remainder of 8. If you hadn't understood how to do one-digit quotients, two-digit quotients really isn't any different. You just start using compatible numbers when you're already into the problem a little bit more. It's exactly the same thing. You just may use compatible numbers second instead of first. So let's go ahead and try another one. Let me clear the screen. Let's go ahead and do 674 divided by 56. All right, so just like we did on the last problem, 56 knocks on the door, 67 answers. I know that I can take 56 away one time from 67. If I multiply that, that gives me 56. Now I'm going to subtract. 7 minus 6 is 1. 6 minus 5 is another 1. If I compare, 11 is less than 56, so I'm good to go. So I'm going to bring down now my 4. Now I have 114, and I have to figure out how many times I can take 56 away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use my steps. So I'm going to use these steps. I'm going to round the divisor to the nearest 10, which gives me 60. I'm going to use the 6 in 60 and the 11 in 114. I know that I can only take 6 away from 11 one time, so I'm going to try to work with 1 as the second digit in my quotient. All right, so now I'm going to go back and work with 56. 1 times 56 gives me 56. If I subtract, let's go ahead and borrow. 14 minus 6 is 8. Let's make this a 0, make this a 10. So I end up with 58. If I compare, 58 is bigger than 56, so that falls into this category. My product worked, but my difference was too big. So my difference down here is too large. So it says to add 1 to the quotient, so I'm going to change this 1 to a 2, and subtract the divisor, 56, again. If I subtract 56 again, 8 minus 6 equals 2, 5 minus 5 equals 0, so I end up with 2. Now I'm going to compare 2 is less than 56, so I'm good to go. I have no other numbers that I can bring down, so 2 becomes my remainder. So my final answer is 12 with a remainder of 2. Really not much different than what we did with one-digit quotients. Let's try one more problem. All right, let's do 981 divided by 45. Go ahead and hit pause. See if you can solve this problem on your own. And then go ahead and hit play once you're ready to continue to see if you got your answer correct. All right, now that you've tried the problem on your own, let's see if you answered correctly. So we're going to follow the same steps. 45 knocks on the door, 98 answers. I know that I can take 45 away twice because 45 plus 45 gives me 90. So I know that I can start with a 2 in the first digit of my quotient. If I multiply that, 2 times 45 gives me 90, so I can subtract 90. If we do that, 8 minus 0 is 8. 9 minus 9 is 0. And if I compare, 8 is smaller than 45, so I'm good to go. That means that I can bring down this 1, and I now have 81. Now I want to figure out how many times I can take 45 away from 81. Well, I know that 45 times 2 equals 90, and that's not enough for 81. So I can only take 45 away one time. If I take 45 away, cross out my 8, make it a 7, make this an 11. 11 minus 5 equals 6. 7 minus 4 equals 3. I end up with 36. If I compare, 36 is less than 45. I have no other numbers that I can bring down, so this becomes my remainder. So my remainder is 21 with a remainder of 36. All right, excellent job, guys. Like I said, it's really not much different than what we did with one-digit quotients. The important thing is to remember these steps when you're working with dividends that are a little too large to do in our head. When we get to numbers that we're not able to divide easily and divide in our head, then use these steps to help you figure out what to do next. If you get to a product that is too big, your product is bigger than the number that you're subtracting it from, decrease your quotient and then try again. If your product works, but then your difference when you subtract is too big, then go ahead and increase your quotient and subtract your divisor again. Make sure you have a copy of these steps written down or printed out and put in your math notebook so that you can refer back to them when you get stuck. Go ahead and try your follow-up questions, and good luck, guys. You did a great job today.